You've got a really cool trick on how you never misspell somebody's name. And you know, it's hard now because people have longer names and funky spellings of names. How is it you ensure that you never miss when they actually lined up at your table? What's your system like on that day?
I have a little sticky note, and I actually give it to them with a pen and ask them to write their name the way they spell it before I ever write it into the book. That way I'll make sure I'm spelling their name correctly and the way they want it done as well. Sometimes they'll say, hey, also put so-and-so in there, and they can write that on that little sticky note. And that helps me make sure I'm correct and they get what they want.
Well, I think that's a powerful tool. Do you have a favorite pen that you like to use? I know different authors use different pens.
I like to use, for my signing, I like to use a green Sharpie.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know that and you and I have talked about this before, but you know, some authors like to sign just above where their name is.
Right.
And then mark their name out.
Right.
And
why is that?
It's just somebody started it and it became a fad. For me, I like signing on the first page of the book.
Well, there's two schools of thought there, right?
Yeah.
One school of thought is there's more resale value if the author actually marks out their name or signs their John Hancock, their signature over the printed name for the resale value. So what's your thought and what do you normally do?
Yeah, I normally sign the first page of the book. Usually because I usually make comments, you know, I hope you enjoy my book, or tell your friends.
Let's say a former president, you go online and you find out a former president, there's two books available, one with a signature, one without an autograph. Which one are you going to buy?
If it all depends on the price. I'd want the one with the autograph.
Yeah, of course it depends
Absolutely.
on the price too, but it's definitely going to be worth more, you know, a president of the U.S., regardless of political affiliation or party. But I want to thank you for stopping in the studio because
Sure.
What trends do you see now with the internet changing things? And you've been an avid reader and now you're writing multiple books and being interviewed. You've got your own podcast. What trends do you see the next 3 years for bookstores? What's really going to work?
I think we've been kind of on a wave of self-learning, self-taught wave for the last 3 or 4 years of books. Now I think they're going to drift back to more personal stories, more drama than what they have been. So for me that's great because I like fantasy, so I'll write sci-fi or a fantasy book. But I do think they're going to drift more back to that because I think with COVID has driven a lot of the self-help. And so I think now that's going to drift back.
I know our top selling books now are pivoting, just like you said, from self-help books and how-to books to fiction books. People love to read, particularly if it's a parable that has a personal development theme to it. But now I think you've got a sci-fi book called What If It Were Possible, right? And I think with all the all the buzz about the UFOs in the news and stuff, I'm hearing feedback of different people that want to interview you. I think it'd be good if you were on Coast to Coast or a show like that, because I think they've got so many listeners, and your book's pretty interesting. Give us a little plug about that book.
Well, that book's about taking a journey across space. About 50 years from the time I wrote the book, which you think about right now, we're in a process of getting ready to go to Mars, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're right there.
That seemed impossible when we were kids.
Yeah, that's right. So this is 50 years from now. We're travel through a wormhole in another universe, and I think the amazing thing about the story is there are no monsters. These people are just like you and I, which and I've kind of tied it back in biblical a little bit. Of course, God says that everything's created under His image. So why wouldn't everybody else look like us, right?
Well, you asked the question, "What if?" And
that's right. So
it's very interesting.
So it's all about the journey, and it's a good read.
Well, that's a pretty long book too. How many pages is it?
Oh, it's around 300 pages.
That's a good.
Kind of an epic. I bet 2 or 3 told me I broke it up into 2 or 3 different books.
Well, let's get your book into bookstores now.